Check, check, quick sound check. Can everybody hear us loud and clear? What's going on, Coach Paul?
We can hear you loud and clear, Coach Jay, on this June 25th, and wish you a happy birthday. Um,
Thank you,
is it
thank
your
you.
21st birthday again?
Today is my 21st birthday, my 14th 21st birthday. But I appreciate it. Thank you. Feels great to be another year older. Blessed to be another year older, and happy to be here, everyone. Hopefully, everybody had a good trading day. How was your day today, Coach Paul?
I had a really good day in different markets other than equities.
Yeah.
But yeah, I had a good day. How about you?
Losing day overall. Was short gold, then tried to buy the equities, and neither one of those worked out. But it was a good day overall. Once we got off the stream, went and had lunch with my niece, who you might hear screaming in the background, and my brothers and my sisters. So it was a good time, right? We take a loss on the charts, but um, I think that's when we say do something nice for yourself. So it was a great lunch to just get off the charts, uh, and got some plans for the rest of the day. So let's get these done, get this market review over with, and everyone can go enjoy their day. It's a beautiful summer day out in New York, at least. It's kind of hot, but try not to melt out there. But welcome to At the Buzzer, our market recap. If this is your first time here, the goal of this session is to review what happened in the markets for the day. We want to review, we may review some markets that you have not traded before, but we believe our goal as traders is to identify opportunity. We want to see how we could take advantage of those opportunities while managing our risk. This is our first time meeting. I'm Coach Jay. I've been a Topstep performance coach since June of 2023. Been trading for the past 13 years in the futures markets for the past 6, and that is Coach Paul. Coach Paul, go ahead and introduce yourself.
I'm Coach Paul. I've been with Topstep for 2 years. I've been involved in the futures trading industry for 4 decades. I'm here to share my experience, some knowledge, and hopefully assist you in becoming a better trader.
Some stuff. You are all our chat, our audience. Let us know how you did today. Were you up on the day, down on the day? Did you take any notes from Coach Paul's scouting report yesterday and trade a different market potentially? Because you see my charts up, but we have the euro dollar, the euro currency futures up here that had a pretty nice day to the upside. We'll talk about that. Uh, Positive on gold short, Rich. Nice.
Good.
Good day thanks to the currencies for Billy. There you go. There's other markets we can trade. We talk about them. We try to bring them up as much as possible. Coach Paul probably more than I do. But on days like today, when the equities kind of left a lot to be desired, there was opportunity in other places. But let's get into the news. We did have some numbers out this morning. Second, we had Trump was speaking at NATO session, so we did have that kind of piped into the stream today. Really didn't hear much about it. It's always kind of interesting to hear him talk. You never know what's going to be said. There was a slight mention of tariffs, but it was a lot about what's going on in the Middle East right now. But we did have some planned numbers. U.S. New home sales came in at 0.623 million. Forecast was 0.693 million. We also had crude oil inventories coming at negative 5.836 million when the forecast was negative 1.1 million. Pretty crazy how they miss that much every time. But at least they got it negative. They were right on that. But anything else you got from the news, Coach Paul?
Nothing at all. Really, I kind of ignored it today. There wasn't a major news. There was a lot of talk, but nothing big for me.
Nothing big. So we can get right into the charts. And there are 35 different markets we can trade with Topstep accounts. Today, to the downside, we had soybean meal down 1.66%, soybeans down 1.81%, and natural gas, our biggest percentage mover, to the downside at 1.89%. To the upside, we had silver up 1.44%, micro Bitcoin futures up 1.92%, and platinum continuing the rally. Platinum, our biggest percentage mover, to the upside, up 3.75%. And these are prices, if we look back in platinum, This is a monthly chart, and look at this month. This is pretty insane. Going back to February 2021, we haven't seen these prices in platinum. This is a futures chart, so it is adjusted for pricing, but uh, there's no denying what's happening in this market right now, and it is rallying pretty strong.
Yeah, it was a great move today.
Yeah, it was.
We've been talking about platinum and unwinding of the gold platinum spread value. Um, but maybe we'll go over that in a little bit.
Sir. The Our big four, we had crude oil up 1.24%. S&Ps down 0.01%. When we say nothing was happening, we'll see traders on social media be like, "Oh, I hate when people say it's a shitty price action." There's always something to do. There is. Is the market going to move? Sure. Can you find a trade? Sure. S&P is down 0.01%. Uh, take that for whatever you will. We have gold up 0.4% and the Nasdaq up 0.25% to round out our big four. Why don't we pull up the S&P since it is pretty
Uh-huh.
much unchanged? Look at
At
this.
that monthly.
Yeah,
I love looking at that monthly in the S&P.
the huge wick.
The mother of all wicks.
Yep. Yeah, huge wick. That was April. Pretty much all of this entire wick was April 9th. We have the J trade of all J trades with the close in May above it, and continuing to rally, continuing to rally. You know, talked about it yesterday. These markets are back to normal, and you're gonna have days like today, right? We're not just gonna continue with daily ATR above average daily ATR days. Sometimes you're going to need to consolidate today, and that was today. The range high to low today in the S&P was less than 30 points, 29 points, Coach Paul.
29 points. And it really, I tell you, there wasn't much opportunity. So if you knowing that there was also less opportunity to lose big money. If I found out if I lost decent amount of money on a day like today, I knew I was really doing something wrong.
Yep. Yeah,
So
my losses. I did hit a personal daily loss limit day today, but it was from gold, right, which did move pretty decently. I think I lost $250 in the Nasdaq and said, okay, I don't even want to try to continue to trade this because there's really not much for me to do here. Uh, I mean, look at this range in the S&P. What do you do with that?
stay out of trouble.
Right? Even as a
Hopefully,
range trader, even as a range trader,
yeah,
the range has to be decent enough to trade, and we have seen some days that were like that recently. Um,
yeah. It was what was 163 points in the Nasdaq. And like you said, in April we had 5 minute the candles with that range.
right, right, where that's decent enough range to trade, right? Going back to beginning of June, this range here was decent, right? Where we had some 400-point range days. The market wasn't going anywhere; it's balanced. But a day like today, it's kind of hard to we hear traders say, how do we hold on to trades? I think the market has to move in order for you to be able to hold on to a trade, at least for me. We did kind of channel lower during the New York session. We had some, and Hogue was talking about it this morning, we had some overnight inventory to the long side. Basically, all that means is by the time the New York session opened, we were higher than where we opened uh, the Globex session.
Candle.
Right. So we were up on the day, kind of rejected right at 22,550s. We can see high of the day was 22,548 in the Nasdaq. That should have been a sign, I think. 22,550 is a minor psych level. Right? It ends in a zero. It's 550. We're really that strong. We shouldn't stop. A point and three quarters away from it, and really no buying volume up to that point. Right? We can see view up for the session kind of flattened out, and really no buying up there. So that could have been a signal, maybe not to get long, maybe not a signal to get short, but hey, I might be the only person interested in initiating a long up here, which could keep you out of trouble. Um, Anything else you got on the equities, Coach Paul?
Well, with this contracted range, if we look at yesterday, um, we had a big rally.
Yep.
And we didn't. We traded a small range after a big rally, so we held value.
Agreed. Yep. Yeah.
I feel it's pretty friendly. I'm still looking to buy it. We'll see it in tomorrow's opening, but I think that's really friendly. If that buying, and it tells me that yesterday is buying, and then remember we got over the 200 and a half hour, and we're holding it without. I mean, it really wasn't a break. We finished literally unchanged.
Yeah.
Still looks good. A little rust, and I think we continue in the next day or two.
Yep. Yeah, talking about the range for today, I want to check the calendar for the rest of the week, see if there's any. Okay, we got jobless claims tomorrow. That's always every Thursday. So that we got a GDP number as well. A lot of times when we see these contractor, and we have PCE to end the week. Okay, now this all made PCE
There
and
we
Michigan
go.
sentiment to end the week. This makes a lot of sense now, right? We have to start the week. We had an above average range day, right? Monday was 525 points. We'll call it. Daily ATR is 382. Yesterday was about 382, exactly at average. And we have two potential catalysts that move the market Thursday and Friday. So it's not surprising to see the markets kind of wait, especially where we're pretty damn close to making all-time highs. Wait for these numbers to come out, and the theme has been the planned numbers haven't been moving the market as much, but we also haven't heard about tariffs, and it feels like a month. So do we get back to our regularly scheduled program where those numbers, and they've been coming out pretty good? Do they continue to move them higher? We'll see, but I think we do still have some decent trading left in the week.
And yeah, didn't Chair Powell talk today? We don't even.
He did.
He did the perfect. It's settled. He talked a lot without saying anything.
Right.
Nothing, at least that the market even cared about. It's interesting if we look at the weekly chart real quick, get some other perspective. Um, that's not bearish to me.
No, not at all. Not at all.
Excuse me. So, do we get there by the end of the week to the all-time highs?
Yeah, we are
Man,
NDX, the underlying, already made all-time highs. We are less than 2% away on this futures contract. That's one good day. That's one good Michigan sentiment number, and we're at all-time highs. Less than a daily ATR. So it's right there. It's right there.
yeah, it's right there. And after looking at the weekly, looking at the daily, um, today was a little rest. Then we have the big CPE number, and GDP has been a pretty big number also. So
Yeah.
onward and upward, it appears to me. One looking at that chart right there, look at the 20-day and the 50-day. You got really close, but they're not crossing, and there was no volume underneath it.
Yep.
So we've seen this before, this contraction, and it's going to, if it holds, can explode to the upside. If not, we'll probably braid around.
Yeah. Anything else on the equities before we move on, Coach Paul?
That's it.
That's it.
For
Let's
me.
take a look at gold. All right, we got gold here on the daily. What are we looking at here? First close under that
Weak
50 moving
buying,
average yesterday.
and we're still under it.
Still under it.
I was with you. I got short and ended up scratching the whole trade and felt good about it. Yeah, we're still under the 50. We haven't had the cross, but once again, we didn't. You think about platinum's big move,
Yeah,
and gold was a nothing burger.
nothing.
So the old buyer of gold, to me, seems to be. We talked about this value is in the platinum. Probably unloading some gold and buying platinum, or just buying platinum and not buying gold. Very interesting, but gold. It looked like I was short with you, Coach.
Hey,
Uh,
where'd you? Okay, I'll ask you. Where'd you cut?
right under the VWAP, wherever I got short. I had a winner going. Actually, we talked yesterday.
Mhm.
I don't have the prices here. Um, about it worked out immediately, and greed was coming over my mind, and I'm like, this is it. This is where gold breaks $50.
Yep. So
I'm like,
I got short. I got short at 33.28. Now, we day trade here, but there are longer time frame participants in these markets, right? There are people who are swing trading. There are people who are investing in some of these markets. If we look back at this chart here, we had a J trade yesterday on the 30-minute, which played out, and the market came down and respected the volume. I got short into this, looking for this to continue to trade lower, and there were buyers at this 27 price, and I told myself I was going to cut it, and I didn't cut it. And again, this is day number 2 of this week where, hey, listen to yourself when you say it. This is a signal, right? Maybe it's not a signal to take a long, but we've talked about this before, Coach Paul. If we come back down to an area of volume where we cannot trade through, and I would imagine that if we pull up a volume profile here, right? So traders, what I'm saying is cautionary tale. If you tell yourself something, just do it. Uh, you'll feel better afterwards. A lot of times, you're making the right call in your own interest. I think I was kind of hoping. Hope, lose.
oh, hope is not a strategy. It rhymes with dope. Um,
Hope you lose.
I know that.
Doesn't
Yeah,
matter who it is.
hope. Uh, and it, like I said, in that point, it came back. Oh, it was a J trade.
Yeah, this was yesterday. It just came right back to that same price. It's still a valid trade.
Okay.
Still a valid trade, right? If we look from that point, VWAP, yeah, this is a fucking long. It's a long, plain and simple.
Well, it was worth trying the short side. I looked at it from the 8 o'clock opening. We had we broke underneath it. W- Um, but like I said, I got a little greed. I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna put this at unchanged. When I was up, I wasn't up there. I was up a few $100. Um, and it turned out stopped me out, and I'm glad it did. Um, because it's struggling. We're not. I'll still play the short side. With it under the 50, and I might even lose money, but I'm playing 2 to 1 on the sell side.
I do like this 200 moving average as a potential test on the 30 minutes up at 33.63. Uh so I do kind of like that area. Bleep that and clip it. Yeah, sorry guys. Uh but all right, anything else you have on gold, Coach Paul? We could take a look at platinum, just an alternative
um,
metal that actually made some movement today.
um, let's look at it.
Take a look. Platinum has just been rallying. Pretty strong market here. Here it is on the daily. Again, highest prices we've seen going back 5 years, almost 5 years, 4 years now. Uh, Pretty strong market. Maybe a
A
little
runaway
extended, but
market.
it is just running, right? Not for me to say that. Whoever's trading platinum
Yeah.
is buying it for a reason.
Well, let's look at it from the half hour from last night.
Here we go. Half hour from last night. Take some of these drawings off. Got above the 200 moving average on the 30-minute yesterday. What is this white line down here?
It's what is it?
It's if it's ever a
It's
holy
the
grail, I'm just
line of.
joking. There isn't one, but yeah, one to pay attention to. One to pay attention to.
So look at that. Once we got there, we didn't get. Think about it. There was no follow through selling.
Nope.
So I like to do every time it touches it, put a VWAP. And the VWAP shouldn't get underneath the 200.
Never did.
If so, that can be, that's the beginning of an allocation to me. It's a place to, what we used to call it in the pit, leaning on a bid.
Yeah.
Maybe this isn't a bid, but the idea was you find a level that you want to defend, pick
Hmm.
a side. So that's where you can take the best risk, where you're going, if it doesn't work, you're going to know quickly.
Yep.
It's not just buying it blindly, um, but taking up from a price point of view. Okay, I'm willing to allocate some of my resources to own this. If I wanted to sell it, it would have to be underneath the 200, and then I would lean on that. But here, right off that 200, man, do tell me. And now look at the volume after we touched that.
Yep. Yeah, it picked up. So I know we look at that gold opening range trade all the time during the opening call, but we were talking about this during the opening call as well. Are there other markets that are maybe presenting trade opportunities? I think the opening range trade in platinum would have triggered a short, but you can see the activity pick up, and again, shorts were just not able to really get any traction below that 200 moving average at all. And this is a really nice market. This is a reminder to me to not default to the same market every day. I know that's some people's strategy and it works really well for them. But a setup like this, Coach Paul, is I want to take this because we see it all the time.
Well, yeah. Um, or recognize it in the market you're in. I
Yes.
don't, but whatever it is, we go over things the way we see them,
Yep.
perspective, and this is our review. Um, could there, if I'm not mistaken, that might have been a fair value gap. On and whatever your approach to taking risk that in finding in finding opportunity, continue to do it. We don't. One of the reasons we go to this is because this is something I've found I can repeat,
Right.
and to have a repeatable process, um, that's non-random. By the way, I didn't say wins 90% of the time.
Yeah.
I mean,
Cannot guarantee that.
it's so when we can remove just trying to make money versus taking good risk, we can start looking for opportunity in other markets.
Anything else you got on platinum, Coach Paul? We can move over to gold, crude oil. Uh,
Crude. Speaking of dead,
yeah. Right. 2 days of extreme volatility, and then we wait. Look at this range in crude. High to low range was about $1.50. Daily ATR is 349. Of course, that is going to be skewed by this massive day here in crude oil. But today was pretty consolidated. We had inventories come out today. Um, Not really much.
there was inventories today.
It was inventories today.
Wow.
You could point to the chart and show me where those inventories were released. I'll give you $1. But because hard to find it.
Yeah. So now, if we crunch that chart so we can see a little more time into that, we're talking about markets going from balance to imbalance back to balance. They had this huge imbalance all in one day, by the way. But look at this. Look at the moving average, the 20 and the 50.
Yep.
They're not even braiding.
Yeah.
They're the same. VWAP's the same.
Playing hide and
So
seek.
my
You can't even see them.
right. So we're in balance. When we move out of this, we should get some continuation. That's the way I would play it. We're under the 200 on the half hour. We're under the 200 on the daily. I'm going to play the short side. Um, doesn't mean it's going to go down,
No.
but that's how I feed my bias.
Oh.
But this is definitely, and you can expect this. They crushed the volatility.
Yep. In one
I
day.
mean, oh, they just crushed it. Um, and as well they should. That's the way, it's the way it is.
Right.
But overall, look for crude to break out of this range one way or the other. Um, to me, that actually gives an opportunity when it's
Yeah. Yep.
flat like this.
Agreed. Agreed. Yeah, because then you could just assume that there is going to be a range expansion day coming at some point, right? And we've seen crude consolidate for a very long time, but we are also in an environment right now where crude is kind of sensitive to headlines. So any catalyst could get this market moving pretty quick. And we pretty much have had a comment from the president about oil every day in the last week. Um, do I rely on that to take a trade? No, but if I see the market moving, imagine that somebody said something. I don't care what they said, as long as the market moves and I can make some money. Uh,
There you-
all right, that was the big four. We do have to go. Did we go through all four? All right, yes, we did. The
And,
equities.
and
We usually spend 45 minutes on the equities, but they didn't do anything. So, uh,
yeah, we could have over analysis and paralysis.
right. Let's go to the scouting report, Coach Paul. You took yesterday at the end of the day. You said currencies were interesting to you. Review a little bit. What were you seeing in the currencies? Even if you want to share your charts and kind of go through it on your side, we can. But I can do it here. What were you
You want
seeing?
to do it? Let's do it there.
All right, cool. Uh, what were you seeing that made these markets interesting? And because I think what's important here, where maybe traders learn how to come up with their own scouting report, right? Where we talk about there's multiple markets to trade. Um, Coach Paul, you told me, before we got on here that you had a decent amount of positions on. What does that scan look like? What are you seeing in a market like this where you say, hey, this could present an opportunity? And I think what we've seen is when we ask about that scouting report, some days you say, hey, there's nothing for us to do. But other days you're like, hey, this is presenting some good opportunity. And then we see a day like today in the euro where it was a great trade. So walk us through that a little bit.
Well, my fundamental trading philosophy comes from what I learned when I was younger is trend trading. I like when you hear me say I take one side of a market. I'm looking for markets that are trending and kind of catch that wave. Um, in the euro currency and the currencies, we don't have the dollar index. That's downtrending. The other side, 80% of the dollar index is what the euro does.
Mm,
So, but you can see we're well above the 20, the 50, the 200. We, we've been on, the 20s above the 50. This is, to me, it has the DNA of a nice trend.
mm.
So, buy the dip.
Yeah.
Then I break it down to the half hour. Um, so starting last night, we had a nice opportunity. That was a 2-to-1. Um,
Right there.
right there.
Yep.
And a half hour, it was a decent trade. Then, okay, even if I don't get the 2-to-1, the worst I can do on that is scratch it.
Yep.
Like, um, then we come into the U.S. Open or Europe Open.
Europe open.
Lo- Is that the whole opening range?
Say it again.
There was a wick you didn't include in that opening.
So this is 2 a.m. 2 a.m. Central
Okay.
Time. This candle here was after it. But if you're
Oh,
using 2
okay.
a.m., yep.
All right. Now we close out of that range. Do we see anything like a J trade in there?
Mm, here's one maybe where this is higher
That was
volume than the
two.
open. we closed at it. We never really closed below that candle. It was tough. This market looks like it really didn't start moving until uh, the equity open,
Exactly.
which is maybe we're seeing a lot more dollar movement during the equity open, and that's why we get this trend. But so
So
go ahead, coach.
going through that, we read what's going on. I'm looking to buy it. Now in a swing trade, I'm long it.
Yeah,
Now I want to find an opportunity to buy it today. I don't know, just buy it blindly. I want to read to see if I can find a place. We talked earlier about leading where I can take along with at least a amount of risk.
right.
Now, in that, we have that opening. We had selling with a wick.
Yeah,
Doesn't take VWAP out of the range. Now, maybe I don't buy it there. And but when it closes out of that range, we came in, it was US. So it seems to me it's the US that's really selling the dollar.
mm. Yeah. Even
Um,
even yesterday, if we look at when the move
yeah.
started, it's the U.S.
So now we have some information and some type of pattern. Um, but once it left and closed above, remember, this is a half hour. We could break it down to a 5 minute, 10 minute, 3 minute.
Right. Oh, there you go.
Now we bring it down to a smaller time frame. Now for day trading, Coach Jay has turned me into a 3 minute trader. And there's a J trade right out of the dictionary. Now, here's where the execution part comes in. Do I just buy it because there was that volume? Well, my first thing is I have to wait for it to close above and be willing to take the risk of two ATRs or new lows.
Yeah.
I like new low. In this kind of trade, I want new lows. So how much is it going? How much risk is it going to cost me?
Go right at the low. Probably not advisable to do that. Maybe give it at least a tick, which would
Oh,
still stop you out
oh,
right here if you did a tick. But
please.
go ahead.
All right. Even if it stops me out,
Yeah, taking a
all
peek in.
right. What it cost me?
$200 maybe.
All right. If I have $400, $500 budget, I can try it again.
Right.
Um. Okay. I get stopped out. Let's remove all that. We still, by the way, that's a tick out. Is that a fair value gap?
Uh,
I ask
I don't know. I'm not. Chat. Do you see a
because
fair value gap here somewhere?
so
You probably do. Someone
we
does.
learn together. Now, to me, if it gets above again, I'll try it again because just like playing poker or more like blackjack, yeah, I can't win every, but I'm following principle.
Yep. Yep.
Um, I'll risk another 200, or I could do a mini.
Yeah. What I really like about this approach is, especially if we look at the half an hour, you're only looking to buy this, right, from yesterday. Now, if it doesn't give you a good signal to buy, that doesn't mean half-ass signals to sell you're going to take as a trade. Just a no trade at that point because there could have been a reason to sell this at some point. But then if we look at it and we zoom out and look at the charts, these weren't great sell signals, right? So you could pretty much ignore all of this price action and just look only for decent places to buy this and limit risk. Um, and you know that makes your job a lot easier if you look at this market this way, right? Where I'm only looking to buy it, so it either has to be a great buy signal or it's nothing. Um, that helps a lot.
Yeah, and you can build upon that. So if we just look at the day, and we could look at levels. Let's say you use pivot levels. I think what all I'm trying to say is, to me, that find a place where you can lean. Even if I take that J trade and I
Mhm.
get stopped out,
Yeah.
okay, I don't. Let's see if it does it again. Also, knowing that it tried to break again, we got sellers again at that level. I'll give it another shot
Yep.
because I'm budgeting my risk. I'm not just doing it blindly. Now, once again, it gets to 2 to 1. Um, and then because at this time the J trade VWAP got over it.
It did. Yeah, let's go back down to that 5 minute. I think it did leave here. Yeah, this was just a great trade. This is a market that's moving, right? Again, when the equities and VWAP never really left here, but when the equities were chopping around, currencies were presenting some opportunity.
You know what's interesting though is I waited for Chair Powell. I think what time
Mm.
did he start talking? Like
Yeah,
nine
right around
o'clock
that time,
Central.
right around 9:30 Central. Yep, that's when it started
No.
going.
Hmm. Hmm.
Hmm.
Central Bank.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Sips drink. Interesting.
Hmm.
All right, but anything else you
But,
see, Coach Paul? Are you looking for this rally to continue? We are. If we look
yeah.
at, if we zoom out a little bit, we're talking about prices that we haven't seen since February of 2022.
Really.
Yeah.
Um. Yeah. Well, I'm still looking for it to continue. What's interesting is, there is, in my studies in my 4 decades, there's a experience when we have, we think of a Republican administration, that the dollar is going to get stronger.
Mm,
Democratic, it's the complete opposite.
mm, really?
And I don't ask me why. I'm not playing politics, but maybe it's because expectations. It's I don't know, but it's been a great rally. It's been steady. Um, Then we look at that daily, like you just did. We're breaking out of ranges
Yep.
longer term. Um, and should continue.
And stuff. Well, we got about 20 minutes or 7 minutes, depending on how we want this to go. We did a little rapid fire.
What's your
We did a little rapid fire through the equities. Anything else you got on your scouting report, Coach Paul? I think
Bitcoin?
Bitcoin.
Bitcoin had a nice move today.
Chat, you guys are quiet on the questions today. Maybe everyone's ready to celebrate my birthday. Also, get up out of here. But you guys have any questions? Please feel free to put them in the chat. If you haven't done so already, hit that thumbs up button. Like what we're doing here. Tell your friends and family to subscribe as well. Do currencies play into U.S. bank equities at all, Coach Paul?
Bank equities?
Yep.
Yeah, not that I know of. And that's a good question. I don't know. Um, I'd imagine it's there's some level of that, but it would have to be a massive um, imbalance, and I don't think that's the case. Now, central banks, yeah, especially that's why I was taking a sip and wondering. It's
Sips
like
tea.
Powell talked, and then the action really unleashed. So central banks, yeah, they trade each other's currencies by by default. Um, some some banks, central banks want their currencies to strengthen or weaken. They can they can make a big difference. I mean, that's that part, yes, very much so. So it seems to me there's a theme: weaker dollar. That could go with the tariffs too.
Hmm.
I'd have to go back to my um, trade, an international trade analysis textbooks, but
I know
yeah,
textbooks. The micro
yeah, that
Bitcoin
was
though, another asset
a
that
bit.
could continue to rally if the dollar is continuing to get weaker, and we're seeing that as well. Last night started off another great trade, and we can see again where that volatility started to pick up a little bit, kind of around that Powell speech. But this is just a market that's in an uptrend. Uh, Came down and tested 100,000 earlier this week, showed support, found some buyers there, and continuing to rally. Uh, yeah, ton of opportunity, ton of opportunity.
Well, like Paul H, hit the like button. He made money in crude, platinum, gold, and copper.
Great,
Love it,
great trade.
Paul. Great trades. Looking for opportunity. But this market is, if we look at the daily, we looked at the half hour, even the short term. This has got to look at, okay, yesterday early, we had this big volume of buying above the 200. Attach a VWAP to that. So, and then we do the 50% correction, and it held because that was a big, there was a, that was a buyer.
Yeah, was
Where
huge.
was Mr. Sailor, micro,
Or
that,
GameStop, they're buying now too.
okay. What that was buying. Can we say that's buying? That was large volume. To me, that was that was an entity that bought that.
Mm,
And it's almost like an opening range trade.
right.
Um,
This
and
was the
we
opening
came,
for the week here, I believe. No, it wasn't. This was Tuesday.
we had that gap down, yeah.
Yeah, this was Tuesday.
Oh, look at that. So we have that gap Sunday. Oh
Yep.
man, it feels like months ago that there was bombing in Iran.
Yeah.
It was 3 days
3 days
ago.
ago.
So we talk about a gap filling a gap. Look where we had that buying.
Right at the gap. And we know that there really is no gap in Bitcoin, right? We're just seeing gaps because of the futures, but there are no gaps.
Right.
So yeah, somebody like this price right around 103s. I wonder what that kind of correlates with in the spot market. But yeah, pretty big buy in there. Big buy in there.
And it held. We went and your classic 50. Look at that.
Right to it.
How many times? Was that you, Coach Jay?
Enough for you to get in long if you wanted to and hold it. Enough for you to get in long if you wanted to.
And then look at this. I mean, let's look at a weekly real quick if we can get one on a.
What are you looking at here on the weekly?
We got room to move on the upside. We had a month of selling that went nowhere, and one kind of that we had a big buying early in the gap, very kind of friendly. By the way, I'm friendly to Bitcoin on the buy side anyway,
Oh
but
yeah.
I don't know. To me, that looks funny. It's talk about buy the dip. Someone bought this dip. There you go.
See, I would do this, but then that doesn't seem
Okay, that is that was the break of the uptrend.
okay. Yeah.
So now I usually color that blue for buying, red for selling, and yeah, this is because we are in a correction. We have a channel. Now we need to close over that that channel, which I think we can. I'm playing it that way. And then we could have a huge move next week.
All-time highs in the futures 113 235. Almost looks like the equity market's about to go break out and make new all-time highs, about 5% off the all-time high there, which is about 2 daily ATR moves in micro Bitcoin.
Okay, and one last one,
Yep.
and maybe we'll let you go for your birthday.
All right. What are we looking at?
Soybeans,
Soybeans.
one of our biggest movers on the day, 200 moving average on the daily.
Eye of the day.
So let's look at that opening.
Do you want to look at last night's open? 8 p.m.,
Oh, no,
7 p.m. Central?
no, today's opening. We could do
Daytime.
that too.
Daytime. So
But
here we go. This is when the volatility starts. We've talked about this before, right? Where if you're looking at these ag markets, you're looking to trade them during the day. That's when most of the volume is going to be trading. They can move overnight, but here's where that volume came in. 3-minute opening range at 8:30 Central Time. Yeah, what a trade.
so this market has been no, it's been in a choppy mode. But there was some buying in the last few weeks. But here, I have the 200 moving average at 1045.
10:45. 10:45. Yeah. That's the 200 moving average you said?
Yeah,
On the daily?
on the daily.
Here I have it at 10:37 half.
All right. Yeah, you have you have different chart than I do.
Yep.
But okay, let's use yours. Yesterday we settled at the 200 moving average. And we're coming down.
Yep.
So mark that price.
10:37 half. That
Okay, let's
price.
make a horizontal line there
Yep.
so we can use that. Now let's go to the 5-minute on the opening.
We are well below it.
Okay, let's see. Yeah. And look last night.
Last night we are right here. Little spike above it. Volume probably stays flat at it.
So
Yep.
now we get some information. Last night we had some sun, we couldn't hold it.
Yeah.
There's no bids there.
Right.
Now, I don't suggest trading beans or grains at night too often. But okay, let's just go to the first 5 minutes of the day trade. We're underneath that moving average.
Yep.
The 200 on the daily. And then
Yep.
price moves under. Then VWAP leaves it. We come back to your favorite place. God, I have to have your patience.
I'd have to have my patience. I talked about a gold trade today that would have at least 4 points. I was wrong. Like I was completely wrong about selling gold. But if I waited for where my entry was, I would have had at least 4 points in profit that I could have taken off and said, "Hey, you know what? You were wrong on the trade. You're wrong on the direction, but you could still make some money." I preempted the short, and so yeah. If you find my patience, just let me borrow some of it.
Patience is a virtue.
Yes, it is.
I just don't have the time.
Patience pays. But in my older
So
age, I think that's what I'm going to find this year. Some more patience.
so even if we talk about, I like to take, if I'm going to take that risk, is 2 ATRs or a new high or a high outside of that opening 5 minutes. Now look at the volume. That was big, good. It was solid selling volume.
Yep.
I'm reading that under the 200. So now from the way I look at things, you have funds selling, probably liquidating some longs.
Mm.
Then we have VWAP leave.
Not super
And
convincing, but it left.
okay. Now we come halfway. All right. And look at that buying on that 5 minute. Can't take out the range. Doesn't even do a dent to the VWAP.
Nope.
Get back under VWAP. it's leaving the range. Now, remember, the way I look at it, funds are going to begin to liquidate underneath that.
Mm,
And so that was the highest volume of the day. I mean, it usually is on the opening, but that was solid. Couldn't take it out.
right.
Um, Play the short side. So, whatever it is you use, to me, how you want to execute it, but I'm not looking to play the short side. It got it started picking up steam. If we look at a half hour now, well, it's
The market.
interesting in that half an hour, that was the 5-minute opening. So
Yeah.
it gives you a little more perspective. Now look at that VWAP. There's urgency.
Yeah. In the half hour. Yep.
Now you get some more information. It's like you opened up with a pair of, twos, right? And in poker, but all of a sudden in the river, and in the river, you got another two. You got more information.
Right.
You can take more risk.
Some more on the table.
Yeah.
Put some
But
more on the table.
overall, soybeans look terrible.
Yeah, this does not look great. Since we got under that 200 moving average on 30-minute, this does not look like a market that I would want to buy.
S-
And
So
it looks like we got some room lower as well if we want to keep going.
and then we can ask Coach J, excuse me, Coach Hoop, seasonals. You know, Grains do not rally too often unless there's some huge weather problem
Hmm.
after the 4th of July. The crop's in.
Okay.
Um, Either way, that's a fundamental. This market has, if you look at that daily, has some downside to it, and some urgency. So that's it for me.
Good stuff. Well, we got no questions today, Coach Paul. Chat is pretty quiet. Hopefully, everybody's staying cool. It is like 100 degrees in a lot of places in the world right now. It's hot out there. Anything else you have before we go, Coach Paul?
Um, Someone was asking a question about ATR. I just lost it.
Do you look at ATR or average session range? If so, do you consider more useful? That was John John. We have the ATR here. I don't think average session range is an indicator on Topstep X. I know Deanna talks about average session range a lot. Is one more useful than the other? I use the ATR because I don't have the other one, but I'd probably go with average session range just because it makes sense to look at the range for the session that you're trading all the time, right? If I always trade the New York session, might make sense to look at maybe both. Both.
Go ahead and see what works for you.
Right. There you
I
go.
use the ATR. Um, I could see if you were trading overnight, you want to know what the average session is for the night session versus the day session. That could be valuable. Like if I'm trading overnight and what my expect. Either way, have it tested, see how it works for you, and be consistent with it. I know this if in a 3-minute, I want to look at the ATR. If I'm executing in a 3-minute, I want to know the ATR of the 3-minute.
There we go. Andrew says the devil knocked on my door a little while ago. He asked to come in to get out of the heat. Yeah, it is hot out there. Be safe out there.
Very good.
I'm gonna go jump in a pool. And
All right.
I will talk to you all tomorrow. Coach Paul, great session as always. Nice call on those that euro trade, the currency trade, in a day where the equities left a lot to be desired to traders, I would imagine. The currencies and why we continue to do this show and talk about different markets presented a great opportunity for traders that were willing to take advantage of it. We're not asking traders to scan 35 different markets every day, take trades, but sometimes playing that in play market makes your job a lot easier as a trader. Want to thank everyone again for joining today. Thank you for the birthday wishes. I appreciate it a lot. I think who do we have in the chat? It was 6 in the chat that said it was your daughter's birthday also. So happy birthday to your daughter. Um, Trade well, manage your risk. We got Coach Hoop coming up with a class in Discord in about 5 minutes. Coach Ray and Coach Vince at 6 p.m. and 7 p.m. Central Time. Coach Dakota with slow markets tonight at 7:30. I'm supposed to be joining him. See how much I drink next to this pool. But
Don't drink and trade.
right. But thank you everyone for joining. We will catch you all tomorrow. Trade well.
Happy birthday, Coach.
Thank you, Coach. Trade well, manage your risk, and we will see you then. Bye.
All right. Bye.